Some of you might be wondering why some parts I blow off a lot and some I don't, and why there's really not a whole lot of dust flying off the parts. Long story short, I was recently chasing some fisheyes on this job, and I finally narrowed it down to a new air nozzle and a new hose. Now it's one of those two, but they were used together, and so I went back to my old trusty 3/8 Flexzilla with the cheap Husky air nozzle, and the problem went away. So basically, before I went to finish everything here, I dusted everything off with the trusted air hose and nozzle. Then I took a saturated rag with lacquer thinner and wiped everything down to kind of basically neutralize the surface, providing that there might have been some contamination on the surface. So I talked to the local chemical coatings division for the Sherwin-Williams store, and that was their recommendation to use over the vinyl. So it was just use a rag heavily damp with lacquer thinner or acetone, and just basically lightly rub the surface, not too much that you would soften up the vinyl, but just enough basically to kind of degrease or cleanse the surface. So normally if you see me blow off sealer dust, I mean it's just the parts just turn chalky white. Just in preparation for the contamination I was kind of going through earlier, a part you didn't get to see was when I had sprayed the back sides of the doors and shelves. I had dusted off both sides, and that's where I noticed the fisheyes when I sprayed the back sides of the doors and the bottoms of the shelves. So if you're wondering why you don't see a lot of sealer dust being blown off, that's because they're pretty much dusting them off camera and then wiping them down with lacquer thinner. And then if you do see me dusting here a little bit, it's just because it's just an extra precaution, make sure that there's no dust that settled on the parts in that time beforehand till now. In case you're wondering about the fisheye problem that I encountered on this job, I have a separate video on it, but basically, long story short, I incorporated a new 1/4 inch Flexzilla air hose and a new air nozzle, both made by Legacy. And what I really liked about the air nozzle was it was a very high volume. It was really inexpensive. It was about $9 at a local store. And the nice thing about it was, I mean, it basically had a nice airflow. It just blew off the dust nicely. It was a nice wide stream. But after doing some testing, as I mentioned in the video on the fisheyes, I come to the conclusion that it's either the air hose or the air nozzle, which is still underneath investigation yet. If I figure it out, I'll probably post another video just on a follow-up to that video. But yeah, that's where the fisheyes came from. So it's very rare that we have fisheyes in the shop here, but if it is, it's usually something that has changed. And remarkably enough, when I had my old 60-gallon single-stage Campbell Hausfield, it was very rare that we chased fisheyes as well, and I didn't have any inline filters or anything, so it's just amazing how lucky I have been over the last 20 years. So even when I did waterborne coatings for a couple of years, long before I started YouTube, I didn't have any problems with fisheyes, you know, with my compressed air system or anything, so I would consider myself to be lucky.